Good morning, students. Hope you are all fine. Today we have an interesting topic to learn. It's all about nature, how you enjoy the natural beauties, whether you love living in the village or in the city. There are a few who simply love to be in the villages, away from the crowd, the noise, and the pollution of the city life. People always have had a heart for the nature. And here the writer, Bittu Segal, is someone like who loves the nature, okay? He is a nature lover. He seems to enjoy different traits of nature. And so we find when we read about him, we know that he is the founding editor of Sanctuary Asia, India's premier wildlife and ecology magazine. From the term ecology magazine itself, it's all concerned about the environment, its issues, the crisis faced by the nature, the chaotic atmosphere, the change of climate. All these are the themes or the topics being explained or discussed in these journals, in this magazine. And he is a member of the National Board for Wildlife. He is also at the forefront of the battle to protect India from the worst impacts of climate change. And we are all aware of the climatic changes happening around the world, not only in India, all over the world. We know the changes that is taking place in our climate, see, even in the present situation, the changes that is happening in and around the world after the outbreak of corona, and the changes that has taken place in the nature, in the environment. After the lockdown, things have been changed. There is a reduction of pollution, and the nature is fresh with a good fresh air. Okay, you have the better feeling of living in a situation with the less carbon dioxide produced by the pollution. And here the writer is wanting to give an awareness to the people around the world how we need to protect the environment for a better living. How nature is a provider, a benefactor for all of us. So here he asks a question to everyone. Expanding cities are eating up the green open spaces available to us. Which do you think is more important? Is it important for us to expand the cities for economic progress, or the need for the open spaces? What do you prefer? As a students of class 8, tell me, students, what do you prefer? Are we to expand the cities, the urban areas for the economic progress or the development of the country, or do you realize the need for the open space, the greeneries, the village atmosphere? So think about it. If you are an environmental activist, what will you be doing? There had been many movements, green movements around the world. There were quite a good number of it, and we have in the English literature the eco-criticism, one of the discipline which is speaking and giving awareness to the people through the literary activities how we need to protect the environment. So this lesson is an article that speaks more about the need of protecting our nature, the need of protecting the animals, birds, and the natural resources around the world. So you as a student need to know how and why we need to protect the environment from this crisis. You must have heard about the extinction of different kinds of species, animals and birds. there are quite a good number of animals which we do not find that had been there in the ancient times. It's all because of the deforestation and the climatic change that has taken place over the years. Now, here the writer is speaking about the nature that has been protected from this violence, pollution, and how his own territory, the place where he live, has been made a virtual sanctuary. Although it is a thickly populated place, how he has kept it safe from the encroachment of the human being. So Bitu Segal is actually expressing his unhappiness towards the attitude of man towards nature, how he has destroyed nature. And he is also unhappy about people being glued to in front of the television set instead of getting out of the house and protecting or working, tilling the land and producing the crops. So this is what we learn in this article, Bees in My Backyard. It's not so much about the bees, but he is speaking about all kinds of birds and animals around his surrounding. So take page number 36 of your text. Quickly we go through the lines. Nothing so very special about, but it's a beautiful article which speaks a lot, many good things about protecting the nature. I used to live in a building called Jal Darshan on Nepean Sea Road in Mumbai. I walk each morning to the sound of a kingfisher. See, he seems to be enjoying the different traits of nature, as I said earlier. He used to wake himself to the sound of kingfisher. Now think of yourself, children. How do you get up in the morning? Is it hearing the chirping sound of the birds, the songs of the birds, or the alarm? Okay, now would be how the technology has brought into the fingertip of our lives. Okay, you can get the alarm, stop it with the finger. But here the author says, the writer says that he used to wake himself with the sound of a kingfisher. And what is the name of his house building? That name also is very symbolic, Jal Darshan. Okay, everything connected to the nature. Okay. Now, just outside our balcony, growing out of a sheer rock face, was an outcrop of lantana bushes that has proven to be a virtual sanctuary in an otherwise human dominated landscape. Actually, the landscape around his house is a human populated area, but there is a lantana bushes around the surroundings of his place has a lantana bushes. It is proved to be like a virtual sanctuary. Now, what is a sanctuary, children? In its original meaning, sanctuary is a sacred place, such as a shrine, okay, where people worship, a holy place, a consecrated place. But by the extension of the term, it has come to be used for any place of safety, protection, a safe place, okay. So here the safe place meant safe place for the birds and animals to grow. Now let us see what this sanctuary is meant for. These lantana bushes meant for what? I spent hours in my balcony watching sunbirds, tailor birds, magpie robins, quails, sparrows, crows, rose-ringed parakeets, and pigeons. So these are the birds being protected in that lantana bushes. These birds used to make their nest freely, and it is a safe place for them to grow. When the season was right, mostly in winter, warblers and gulls came visiting our turf. Turf here means the territory. So even during the winter, warblers and gulls also used to visit their territory. What is this warbler? Warbler is various kinds of small singing birds. Okay, songbirds are called warblers, and the gulls are seabirds. I once even saw a shikra pick up a sparrow in a puff of feathers. All these from my balcony that also overlooked a venerable bird tree and clutch of peepal trees that swarmed with life. Now he says, when the season was right, mostly winter, warblers and gulls came to visit his territory, and even once he saw a shikra pick up a sparrow in a puff of feathers. So beautiful. So he's saying he used to watch all kinds of birds from his balcony that also overlooked a venerable bird tree. So from the balcony, he could see a bird tree and a clutch of people tree that swarmed with life. Swarmed with life means which is full of life. What do you understand by full of life? A tree full of life. It must be full of fruits and flowers. And when there is flowers and fruits, what will be there? There will be birds and animals feeding upon these fruits and flowers. So he says it swarmed with life. There was always life. It was crowded with life. These both the trees, bear tree as well as people tree. Between them, these wild plants managed to feed such a variety of life forms. And my soul, right here in the turmoil we call Mumbai. What is he telling here, children? He's telling between them these wild plants manage to feed such a variety of life forms. What is this wild plants? These lantana bushes, okay, used to grow in plenty, giving lots of life to many birds, the little butterflies and the birds to grow. And what he used to feel, his soul used to feel so calm and peace in this turmoil in the city called Mumbai. What do you mean by turmoil, children? Turmoil means a state of great confusion, disturbance, and uncertainty of the city life. You know, Mumbai is known for all kinds of trade and business and a thickly populated place. And he says, in that turmoil, in that disturbed situation, he used to find peace and harmony looking at this birds, animals, and the plants around his house, and all these he could watch from his balcony. So it all shows around his house there are lot many trees and the plants grown. It is like a virtual sanctuary that give a safe place for the birds to grow. Hope you understood the first stanza speaking all about how you can protect the environment. Even your own house surroundings can be kept like a sanctuary for the birds and animals to grow. If you grow green plants, it would simply invite the life forms to grow, birds and animals to grow there. And then there was the Darshan Garden. So he says, not only these people trees and the bear trees, but there is also a Darshan Garden. He has also a beautiful garden around his building. At dawn and dusk, a virtual army of pipistrelles and swifts competed with each other, dive bombing the airspace over our garden, consuming the insects that grow fat on the plenty of Malabar hills. So we know at the back of his building there is the Malabar hills, and then there used to be lots of insects growing there. And in front of his house there is a Jaldarshan garden where the bats, pipistrelles are the reddish brown colored bats. Swifts, what are they? It is a plain colored another kind of bird. So they used to be diving in front of their garden as if competing themselves for what they are competing with each other, who will be catching many more insects. Okay, so the bats and the swifts used to compete each other in order to find their prey. That is the insects that are growing fat in the Malabar hill. When it was darker and most human residents were glued to television sets, see the line, okay, it's very important lines. As soon as it is dusk, what happens? Evening falls. People of the residents of Mumbai, not only Mumbai, all over the world, what do? They glued themselves to the television set. This is what he wanted to tell. Instead of sitting outside and enjoying the beauty of the nature, what do the people are doing in the present age? People are more likely to sit in front of the television set than walking um, outside the garden or enjoying the beauty of the nature. People are more addicted to the TV serials and cinema and whatever be broadcasted in the television set. When you come to class 9, you have a lesson called television, a beautiful poem giving awareness how we are um, clogging our brains while watching the television. You are simply frozening your own imagination and fantasy while watching the television. And here, Bitu is also making you aware why at all people glue themselves. They get addicted to the TV programs. Now, when people are glued to television set, what happens outside? Fruit bats came visiting to feast on the thousands of figs and false badam fruit. So, birds used to have a safety atmosphere. They can freely move around and eat up the figs from the fig tree and the badams, false badam fruit. Every few years, a family of barn owls raised its family in a cozy little niche 20 meters up in a cliff wall. So, away from the wall, his building wall, there used to be a small niche. Okay, niche means protecting cover, it is called. Niche means a cover, a protecting place. The owls used to raise their family. So we understand from this first three paragraph how the writer enjoyed the beauty of nature from his own balcony. It shows that he used to grow trees and plants and kept a beautiful garden in his campus. And that used to be a place for it used to be like a virtual sanctuary for the birds to grow. Now, I think there are little more are there. So for today, go through these paragraphs, study the lesson, read it 2 or 3 times to understand it. All the best, students. Keep well.